Did you know there are people who earn vast sums of money yet are crippled by anxiety about the future, while others, with limited resources, seem to navigate life with unshakable peace and confidence? The difference isn't in how much they have, but in how they manage it and in whom they have placed their trust. For centuries, the Bible has revealed financial principles that have transformed the lives of ordinary people and influential leaders alike. However, many continue to ignore these simple yet powerful habits. We live in an era of instant consumption, anxiety about the future, and constant comparison. We feel overwhelmed by debt and pressured by expectations that never seem to be met. But here is a truth: God does not want you to live enslaved by money. He desires for you to live with purpose, peace, and abundance. And this is not achieved through shortcuts or magic formulas, but through habits grounded in biblical wisdom. Some believe that to prosper financially, one needs a large income or exceptional skills. But the reality is that change begins with small daily steps, with habits that anyone can adopt. It won't be easy at first. There will be days of doubt and frustration, but every small effort will bring you closer to a stable and blessed financial life. In this video, we will explore 5 daily habits based on biblical principles that have the power to transform not only your finances, but also your relationship with money and the purpose God has for you. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Here, we share principles that not only inform, but transform lives. And pay attention. The last habit has the potential to break invisible chains that may have been blocking your prosperity for years. Stay until the end, because every minute could be the seed that transforms your life forever. In a world where every financial decision feels like a leap into the void, starting the day by consecrating your finances to God is like turning on a light in the darkness. Many begin their day with a mind saturated with worries, bills to pay, accumulated debt, financial dreams that seem unattainable. However, there is an indescribable power in setting aside a few minutes each morning to place everything in the Lord's hands. Prayer is not a simple religious ritual. It's a direct connection with the one who has absolute control over all things. In that moment of surrender and silence, the heart calms, the mind clears, and the best decisions begin to take shape. The Mexican entrepreneur Carlos Slim, one of the most successful men in the world, has mentioned on various occasions that before making important decisions, he resorted to prayer and seeking spiritual direction. Regardless of his work methods or financial strategies, this habit accompanied him throughout his career. It wasn't just about mathematical calculations or financial projections, but a constant practice of reflection and divine consultation before each crucial step. Every day, before checking important emails, making an investment decision, or facing a delicate negotiation, it is necessary to pause, breathe, and pray. The anxiety that consumes us when looking at our bills doesn't disappear with more worry. That anxiety only dissipates when we understand that God is not only interested in our finances, but wants to be an active part of our economic decisions. This is a spiritual and practical alliance. We do our part, and He guides us with wisdom to identify opportunities and avoid traps. The morning routine for many people starts on autopilot: social media, discouraging news, a hurried cup of coffee, and a constant feeling of being behind. But can you imagine how your life would change if you started each morning with a moment of surrender and a prayer that says, "Lord, bless my work, my decisions, and my ability to manage the resources you have entrusted to me"? It's not just about asking for blessings. but asking for discernment so that every cent has a clear purpose. Money without purpose vanishes easily. How many people have good incomes, but at the end of the month, don't know where their salary went? This happens because their finances have not been placed in the hands of the true owner, God. When we start the day with this mindset of dependence and gratitude, we learn to value every resource, avoiding waste and hasty decisions. Consecrating your finances daily is not a symbolic act. It is an act of active faith. It is declaring with conviction, "Lord, I trust that you are my provider and my guide." It is replacing fear with faith, anxiety with confidence, and impulse with discernment. And above all, it is recognizing that every resource we possess is a divine gift, and we are responsible for managing it with gratitude and responsibility. Carlos Slim found success in his financial decisions, and one of his recurring habits was to seek direction through prayer before undertaking any important action. That simple habit, though it may seem small, makes a monumental difference in the outcome of our decisions, because when God is in command, the path always becomes clear. In a world obsessed with immediate results, few understand the power of small daily actions. Sowing financially every day is not about accumulating large sums of money overnight, but about establishing a constant and disciplined habit that, over time, yields abundant fruit. A small daily saving, a modest but consistent investment, are like seeds that, although they seem insignificant at first, eventually grow into lush trees that provide shade and fruit. God honors discipline and consistency more than grand, occasional impulses. In the Bible, Joseph in Egypt becomes a clear example of this principle. During the years of plenty, he not only enjoyed the available resources but wisely saved and managed every stored grain. His vision was not focused solely on the present but on the uncertain future that loomed. When the years of famine arrived, Egypt not only survived but prospered, because Joseph understood the importance of sowing in times of abundance to reap in times of need. In today's world, Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time, has demonstrated that sowing financially is not an occasional act but a daily commitment. From a young age, Buffett began saving small amounts and consistently reinvesting his earnings. He did not build his fortune overnight but through years of discipline, intelligent decisions, and the mentality of a sower who understands that every small seed is giant potential. But sowing financially is not limited to just saving or investing. It also means avoiding unnecessary expenses. How many times does money disappear on small, fleeting pleasures that add no real value? That subscription you never use, that daily coffee you could make at home, those impulsive purchases that seem harmless but add up to a considerable amount by the end of the month. God calls us to be good stewards, not to waste what He has placed in our hands, no matter how small it may seem. The power of daily saving lies not in the amount, but in the consistency. A person who saves $1 a day may not seem to be doing much, but over time, that small act transforms into a solid foundation upon which to build financial stability. The Bible says, "Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle." This refers not only to daily work, but also to the constant care of our resources. However, sowing financially also requires the right mindset. It's not enough to save money if the heart is filled with fear, greed, or despair. Every small act of saving or investment should be accompanied by a prayer. "Lord, bless these seeds I am sowing and multiply them for your glory." Because when God is involved in our finances, even the smallest seeds can turn into abundant harvests. Joseph didn't store grain because he was afraid, but because he had vision and divine wisdom. Warren Buffett didn't build his empire because he was lucky, but because he understood that every small saving was an opportunity to grow. Today, each of us has the opportunity to sow financially every single day. It doesn't matter if it's a lot or a little. What matters is not letting a single day pass without planting something that can grow over time. In a world where information is at our fingertips, knowledge remains one of the most valuable assets a person can possess. However, it's not just about accumulating data or reading endless books, but about sowing small doses of wisdom daily with intention and purpose. The difference between those who prosper and those who remain stagnant is not always in their financial resources, but in their willingness to learn and apply what they've learned. Every day is an opportunity to grow, to discover something new, to strengthen our skills, and to make better financial decisions. In the Bible, Daniel and his friends stand out as an impressive example of this habit. Despite being in a hostile environment in Babylon, where they were expected to abandon their beliefs and adopt foreign customs, they dedicated themselves to daily study and learning. Their commitment to knowledge and wisdom not only made them stand out among the others, but also positioned them in places of influence and authority. Daniel did not become a respected man by accident, but through his constant discipline in seeking knowledge and applying it with discernment. In our reality, access to knowledge is easier than ever, but it is also easy to get distracted by superficial content. Today, sowing knowledge means dedicating time daily to learning about finance, entrepreneurship, or personal development. You don't need endless hours. Just 15 minutes a day is enough to read a chapter of a book, listen to an audiobook while commuting, or watch an educational video. If you want to learn about financial prosperity, the playlists on this channel are filled with teachings that can transform your perspective on money. However, knowledge without action is like a seed that is never planted. Many accumulate data, statistics, and advice but never put them into practice. Learning is not enough if there is no transformation. Every lesson you receive, every principle you discover, should be reflected in your daily decisions. What good is learning about saving if you don't apply that knowledge to your budget? What good is hearing about investments if you never take the first step? God gives us the opportunity to learn not just to be smarter, but to be wiser and more effective in our stewardship. If you feel you need prayer support, if something is blocking your path to knowledge, or if you face a challenge in your finances, leave your prayer request in the comments. We firmly believe that God can open doors, clarify minds, and break chains when we unite in faith and prayer. We are here to support you because no one should face their battles alone. Knowledge is a powerful seed that, when sown daily, produces fruits that transcend generations. Daniel and his friends did not settle for the basics, they sought excellence in their learning. You can do it too. Every day is a new opportunity to learn something that brings you a little closer to the financial life God has prepared for you. Financial success is not the result of chance, nor does it come solely through prayers and good wishes. Although faith is fundamental, God honors those who work with excellence and consistency. Sowing into your work or business every day doesn't just mean fulfilling your daily tasks, but doing so with purpose, dedication, and a spirit that reflects a commitment to God and to yourself. Every small effort, every task well done, every step taken with determination is a seed that sooner or later will bear fruit. In the Bible, Nehemiah becomes an extraordinary example of this principle. Despite facing opposition and constant challenges, he dedicated himself tirelessly to rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. He didn't do it sporadically or only when he felt inspired. He did it day after day, with discipline and unwavering faith. Nehemiah did not allow fear, fatigue, or criticism to stop him. He understood that every brick laid was one step closer to his goal. Likewise, every small daily effort we invest in our work brings us closer to our financial goals. In modern life, the story of Howard Schultz, founder of Starbucks, reflects this same principle. Schultz did not build his global empire overnight. Day after day, he invested time in improving his products, strengthening his team, and expanding his business vision. Every day was an opportunity to sow something new, improve a strategy, or connect with more customers. Schultz understood that growth doesn't happen by chance, but through a daily commitment to excellence. But sowing into your work or business doesn't always mean performing grand actions. Sometimes, it's the small details that make the difference. Publishing valuable content on social media, sending a message to a client, reviewing your processes to find areas for improvement, training to acquire a new skill. Each of these actions is a seed, and although you may not see the fruit immediately, each one is building something greater. God blesses consistent effort and diligence in the small things. The problem is that many expect an instant reward. They post something once, try to improve their service for a day, and give up when they don't see immediate results. But true growth is silent and gradual. The walls of Jerusalem were not rebuilt in a day, and Starbucks did not become a giant overnight. Every day counts. Every small effort matters. Every seed planted has value. Furthermore, sowing into your work or business is not just about getting more income or reaching financial goals. It's also a matter of character and purpose. When you work with dedication, you reflect an ethic that honors God. Your clients, colleagues, and collaborators can see something different in you. Someone who doesn't work just for money, but for a greater purpose. Someone who understands that their work is an extension of their faith. Nehemiah had a clear objective: to rebuild the walls of his city. Howard Schultz had a vision: to create a unique experience for every customer. And you? What vision drives you? What walls are you rebuilding in your professional life? What experience are you offering through your business? Every day, every hour, every small action is an opportunity to sow something that transcends. We live in an age where everything seems designed to make us feel dissatisfied. Social media bombards us with images of dream vacations, luxury cars, and seemingly perfect lifestyles. Without realizing it, we begin to measure our financial success by comparing ourselves to what others have, or worse, what they appear to have. But daily contentment is not resignation or a lack of ambition. It is learning to see what we already have as a blessing from God and recognizing that true financial peace begins with a grateful heart. The Apostle Paul expressed it clearly in Philippians 4 verse 11, "I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances." Paul did not write these words from a position of comfort, but from a prison cell. His contentment did not depend on his external circumstances, but on his internal trust that God was in control. In the same way, our level of financial peace should not depend on the amount of money in our bank account, but on our ability to recognize that God has provided what is necessary for this moment. The problem arises when we confuse contentment with complacency. It doesn't mean we shouldn't dream, plan, or work for a better life. On the contrary, God calls us to be good stewards and to have healthy aspirations. But contentment protects us from falling into the endless cycle of comparison and consumerism. Because let's be honest, how many times have we spent money we didn't have on things we didn't need, just to impress people we don't even care about? Constant dissatisfaction also leads us to make impulsive financial decisions, that unnecessary purchase, that trip we really couldn't afford, that loan that seemed like a good idea at the time. Each of these financial mistakes is born from a restless heart and a mind clouded by comparison. But when we learn to live with contentment, we find freedom from unnecessary debt, freedom from anxiety about the future, and freedom to enjoy what God has already given us. And speaking of freedom, there is something powerful when we declare with faith what we believe. Words have a direct impact on our minds and hearts, and a declaration of contentment can break invisible chains. So, write this prophetic declaration in the comments. My heart is filled with gratitude, and my finances are blessed. Daily contentment is also a spiritual practice. It doesn't emerge overnight, nor is it automatic. It's a daily decision. It's choosing to see the blessings before the shortcomings. It's celebrating small progress rather than obsessing over what's missing. When we live with contentment, we not only manage our finances better, but we also enjoy life more. Because money can buy many things, but it can never buy peace in the heart. And when it comes to cultivating contentment, prayer is a powerful tool. Because contentment is not always natural. Sometimes we need to ask God to help us see the blessings that are right in front of us. Perhaps you are struggling with comparison, with financial frustration, or with anxiety about the future. But today, we can bring all of this before God. Let us pray like this. Lord, thank you for the blessings you have placed in my life. Help me to see what I already have with gratitude and not to be carried away by comparison or consumerism. Teach me to manage my resources with wisdom and to find contentment in every season of my life. Amen. Applying these 5 daily habits based on biblical principles are not simple routines, but a lifestyle founded on faith and trust in God. Each habit shared here is not just financial advice. It's an opportunity to transform your life from the root. Because when you pray for your finances, sow daily, invest in knowledge, work with excellence, and practice contentment, you are not just managing resources. You are building a legacy of blessing. The book of Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 reminds us to trust in God and not to lean on our own understanding. By applying these principles, you will not only be aligning your actions with God's will, but also creating a positive impact on those around you. If there is something weighing on your heart or you are facing financial challenges, leave your prayer request in the comments. We believe that God hears our petitions and has the power to open doors where there seem to be no way out. And don't forget to write this prophetic declaration. My heart is filled with gratitude, and my finances are blessed. It's not just a phrase, it's a seed of faith planted in your financial life. If this content has inspired you, I invite you to watch the video 7 Biblical Principles for Building Wealth, Prosper with Divine Wisdom, where you will find teachings that will complement what you have learned here and take you further on your path to prosperity. Subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, like, and share this video with someone who needs it. Together, we can build a community that prospers with purpose and wisdom. May God bless you abundantly in all areas of your life, your finances, your home, and your dreams.